Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday the 13th of February. So, what we've got in store today, so news-wise, we've already seen the Swiss data coming out there, a bit disappointing in terms of their inflation coming in negative. It's been running at zero anyway. It's not really where they want it. Aside of that then, we've got the US inflation data now. This data is a couple of days out, is it? Yeah, delayed by 2 days, so it's not so distant as much the other data that's been released, so it's gradually catching up on things here. So this will get a much more of a focus this afternoon at 1:30, so just be aware of that. Yesterday's data there, unemployment claims came in a bit lower, but there seems to be a bit scary sort of action regarding AI again, funny enough. Anyway, let's get on and look at these markets. Start off with looking at the euro dollar. So, euro dollar. So the euro really yesterday, I mean, it was down fractionally. It's off a little bit at the moment. There's a bit of a risk-off situation running through the markets here, and we're really seeing traders moving out of some equities, maybe into bonds. Overall recovery of a little bit of recovery, tiny recovery in silver and gold. Anyway, let's look through here then. So the euro really this week has largely been stagnant, apart from sort of one large movement there on the 4-hourly chart. You can see it's difficult to do too much with. There was the non-farm payrolls on Friday, but Friday? Some of you saying Friday, eh? On Wednesday that was finally released, but that was it. And it's now looking like, well, maybe you'll catch a little buy here, possibly. I don't really like it at all. The pound, I don't want to go into a weekend holding something here which doesn't look fantastic, well, really good. I don't anyway, but what else we got here then? So the pound is still quite a mess. There's the drift off to the downside is continuing here. Overall, there's a slight drift, lower highs coming through and being confirmed. I'm sort of looking at this relative to yesterday. It looks soft yesterday. It did come back up to the pivot there and then danced around the pivot. Really slow old price action, and it's just not, to me, it's just not really tradable when it's like this. Yes, you might get the occasional retrace and you can sell into or something, but just not happening. US dollar yen, even this morning's bounce. Yesterday though, it did continue drifting off there, but it was choppy for quite a long period of time. In fact, most of yesterday. It did have its moments. It rallied into the pivot eventually again there and pulled away, and then rallied back up and came back down again. So maybe if you'd caught a bit in the afternoon there, it was possibly playable, but overall just not dancing too well at the moment, is it? Just maybe coming one of the bottoming patterns coming through here again, but not for me. Sorry, my system's running a little bit slower this morning. The Australian dollar, well, the Australian dollar topped out yesterday and has pulled back a little bit here. We did see some selling of gold and silver originally, and this certainly doesn't help. And money's running towards the dollar, so the combination is a perfect combination at the moment. However, it's just finding a bit of support off the 200 there. It's again though, it could just be a topping pattern that's gone on here. It's taken a bit of time to try and break through there. You have to go back to the bigger time frames here to. There you go. There was a high over that point there that it's run into, and so it's just sort of tops back into that level. It's gone a bit steeply. It's yeah, as I say, it could be topping off. Again, not something I want to really get into on a Friday at the moment. So there we go. That's the Aussie. US dollar CAD. This had been running quite nicely in the earlier part of the week. It's slowed up here last couple of days. Yesterday not done anything. I say yes, the last couple of days. And today, well, again, it's bottoming out here a little bit here on the 4 hourlies. Yesterday took the surge to the upside. Maybe we'll see something similarish today when we've got that news out later, but again, not really liking what's going on here. Okay, just nothing there at the moment to trade for me this morning. Just the way it goes sometimes. New Zealand dollar, I don't know why I'm looking at this. This is breaking off as well. Same sort of patterns on the higher time frames there. So other pairs I was looking at yesterday was Euro Aussie. This did roll. This did come up back to its pivot, and it triggered a short-term trade for me, which it actually managed to get the full profit come out of that on that signal. But I was well, to be fair, I was hoping it was going to run off further, but it just didn't. But again, here is this a bit of a correction. We're seeing the Australian dollar aspect of this against the US dollar finding some support off of its 200. We're here against the euro. We're seeing the resistance against the 200 for the euro. It's a recovery. We'll see what happens this morning here. If they both start recovering, perhaps this might roll back to the downside. Got an untouched daily pivot, but we've hit the R1, so the probability is not so good for that pivot being hit. Now if this was a Thursday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, I'd be more interested because I can hold it for longer. I don't want to hold this over the weekend particularly, but it might get a part-way trade this more later this morning. We'll see how it goes, but just nothing there that's really on the Forex side that's appealing to me too much at the moment. This is about the best, and even this with its little higher low, possibly a bottoming pattern, isn't looking the best. Right, okay, let's have a look at silver first, as that's up 3.8% this morning. Yeah, it had quite a sell-off there yesterday, didn't it? Again, so it's still in this regression channel and bouncing along again. Now this could make a right mess of itself, or it has made a right mess of itself when you look at the weekly picture here. Dropped off quite sharply there, but recovering half that distance back up again. It's just not what it was a few weeks ago, is it? And it's becoming much more difficult to try and do things. And whilst it's like this, personally, I'm not interested in trying to trade it. It's just either this or gold. While they like this, gold not. Yeah, it's just doing the same thing on the hourlies here. It's just a mess. Do you want to short it against something that could fly up at any stage, or do you just sort of leave it until it gets looking tidy again? The latter, methinks. Right, S&Ps. Now, I talked about this yesterday, whether it was it's just weak where it is up here, and well, certainly yesterday we saw money coming out of the fear. This is sort of fear of the AI sort of side of things here now, and selling off quite strongly there, coming through in the afternoon there, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, really quite solid sell-off here coming through. And well, it doesn't look pretty at the moment. It doesn't look pretty for a sell either. Just probably a little bit of divergence over these lows here. Maybe a retrace into some lower time frame moving averages. It might give something, but I'd rather trade the DAX, so we'll look at the DAX on that anyway. Short side is for the DAX. Anyway, FTSE first. So the FTSE peaked into all-time highs yesterday. Maybe we'll get a bit more action going in this, more positive above its daily pivot if it gets there. Just got to watch out, it's got resistance in front of it with a 50 and the 34, but maybe if it starts breaking through, it's got an opportunity of a bit more of a run again, but don't like it from where it is. The DAX though, now this looks a bit weaker. It's just a pattern it's doing. The daily wise, it's never got up to its new all-time highs or anything. It's just, let's have a markets just look that little bit more positive. If you were looking to short the equity markets, this may be one that comes off better. It's sort of got an, dare I say it, a head and shouldery type pattern that's sort of sitting there. You can knock these patterns, but a lot of them still work quite well. It's just understanding how to trade them properly and not getting greedy, thinking that's the end of the world when you see a pattern like this. They have a finite range. There's a possibility with this. Yeah, we could see a drop off. But that's about it really. See how it does this morning. If it does drop off, it breaks the S1, could be on for a bigger correction. We're just running into 8 o'clock here and it's just starting to sell at the open. I normally give it a little bit of time, but I'll leave that up to you, but it does look a bit on the softer side. Right, there's not a great deal there for me today at all. It's Friday the 13th, guys, should point out. Right, have a good day. I'll catch you on Monday. Bye for now.